learning new details about one of those deadly U.S. strikes on alleged drug boats in the Caribbean. Sources tell CNN the U.S. military carried out a follow-up strike on September 2nd after becoming aware of survivors in the water. The sources tell us that prior to the strike, Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth had ordered the military to ensure everyone on board was killed. People briefed on the, quote, double-tap strike say they're concerned that it could violate the law of armed conflict, which prohibits the execution of an enemy combatant who is taken out of the fight due to injury or surrender. Now, since September, as you're seeing on your screen here, the U.S. military has carried out at least 21 known strikes on suspected drug trafficking boats, killing at least 83 people. Officials have also acknowledged, though, not knowing the identities of everyone on board before they are struck. And this development comes as President Trump says the U.S. military will soon begin land strikes on alleged drug trafficking networks in Venezuela. I want to bring in Beth Stanner, a CNN national security analyst and former deputy director of national intelligence. Thank you for taking the time. I just want to start with getting your reaction to the reporting we have here that double tap strikes were ordered to make sure everybody on board was killed.
Right. If this is true,
yeah,
it's really shocking.
Yeah.
You know, I was thinking about this in the context of Ukraine. And right now, Russian soldiers are being accused of war crimes, and their cases in the International Court of Justice because they're killing prisoners, Ukrainian armed combatants who are prisoners, and they're killing them instead of, you know, keeping them as prisoners. So, I mean, here we have an example of an actual war and war crimes accusation. So here, what does this do, you know, in terms of U.S. moral authority? You know, there's reporting this week of Israel of IDF soldiers killing Palestinian prisoners, Hamas prisoners. How can we go to Israel and say, like, you shouldn't have done that? Or Russia?
Yeah.
You know,
this arena has, I mean, we've been talking a lot about Venezuela on a number of fronts. Obviously, there are these efforts that the administration says they're going after drug trafficking boats. There is the not so subtle pushes against Nicolas Maduro that President Trump has been leading. But the president also says that land action would now be part of the administration's effort to deter Venezuelan drug traffickers. I just wonder what you think about that threshold being crossed here.
It's a big threshold,
yeah,
right? I mean, right now we're in international waters, but when you're talking about strikes in a sovereign country against, you know, I mean, these are drug traffickers, bad people, you know, but it is still in another country, and so there usually has to be a justification, and there is a process for that. You can get authorization for use of military force from Congress that helps on that, but there's an entire international legal system too, and that's what people are worried about. You know, kind of in this context of the video that the Democratic senators put out recently about defying illegal orders, and the question about whether people who are conducting them could be subject to you know, being prosecuted.
Yeah.
So I think that there's a lot involved here. I do wonder, though, whether President Trump actually will do it, or whether we're just kind of in this game of chicken. I was thinking about this because he has this quote that he said in another context about, you know, waiting until the very last minute to make a decision about conducting such an activity, because, you know, in war, things change. That's the quote. And so, you know, sometimes, you know, we don't really know where we're either up to that line, yeah, of the last minute, or whether we're still in this kind of pressure campaign trying to see if something will happen inside Venezuela, whether this kind of pressure will generate activity to oust Maduro.
Well, I was going to say, a lot of people are looking at, okay, is this all part of an encroachment effort to oust Nicolas Maduro, who President Trump has said his days are numbered? Earlier this week, the president designated Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro and his government allies as members of a foreign terrorist organization. I just wonder, we've got these individual sort of storylines popping up. What do you see as the bigger picture here? Is the bigger picture to try and get Maduro out of office?
I mean, I think sure. I think, you know, Lindsey Graham has said as much, very close to the president. I think that that's where we are. But I don't think that necessarily means that he's willing to use military force directly in terms of trying to do that, whether to snatch him or to kill him. So, you know, again, I think we're going to be in this ratcheting up, and maybe it will entail strikes inside of Venezuela against drug facilities, but that'll be part of a process, again, to see if something will move internally. I think that's the goal.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was CNN, and they was breaking down. If y'all don't know what's going on with that, it's been some military strikes on boats that this administration deems to be drug runners. So I spoke a little bit about this on a previous video, but I kind of want to go in depth about it today because the drug issue here in America, it has been going on so long. And I personally, this is my thing, I personally think that the drug addiction problem here in America is related to all of the other things that's going on in this country, especially racism, especially entitlement, or what we might call white supremacy. You know, I think that white supremacy thing is haunting a lot of white America. You know, I think that fallacy or that image of what white supremacy is, it really haunts a lot of white people in this country because, you know, everybody got the same internal thing going on. So no matter how you look on the outside, you feel a certain way. And so if you've always been told that you are superior just because of how you look, you can feel if you're superior or not. You know, if you don't have certain things that keep you grounded, that keep you in tune with this world that we live in, not only are you not superior, but you I want to say you inferior. You're really not, you know what I mean? Like, so that white supremacy thing is really inferior. The concept of it is inferior because nobody is superior just simply because of how they look, right? So I think a lot of that is related to the drug problem here. So bombing boats and taking out, you know, drug runners, that's not going to solve the internal problem that's going on in this country. We have a lot of educating and rewiring of how people think, you know, moving forward. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want to say that it's too late for the older, you know, generation, but we got to focus on these babies coming up, man, you know, so they don't end up falling into these same traps when they get older. That's the thing. Killing the drug dealers, that's not going to help nothing. Trust me. If people messed up in their mind, they're going to find a way to try to escape, you know, and that's the issue. It's not the drugs itself, it's something deeper. Drug addiction is really it's a symptom of something more. And that's the issue. So as long as you got a dumbass administration trying to not only not deal with that, but want to go kill innocent, like some of these people could be innocent, you know, and that's what they was talking about on that video. They might be killing innocent people out there under the guise of killing drug runners. They don't even know who some of these people are. You know what I mean? So these is crooks. And on top of that, that lady said something about moral authority. This country has never had the moral. That's a word this country never should use. I believe Farrakhan said it. This country would never be in a position to talk about morals and ethics based on this country's founding. So that's the part that when you hear people talking like that, it's like, you know, that these people have drank the tea. You know, like they are crazy. Like, you know, something is not there. It's a lot of people that want to believe in this image of America being so great, but America has only been great to certain people. It ain't never been great for everybody. So that's if it's never been great for everybody, it's never been great for nobody. And that's just the truth of how that worked. So yeah, I just wanted to share that little clip, man. I'm gonna come back with more. Look forward to tapping in with y'all. I'm out. Like, comment, share, subscribe to this too.